Every year in Petaluma, there is a tribute to American Graffiti. This year, however, marked the 50th year since this blockbuster movie first hit the silver screen. It originally premiered at the Locarno Festival in Switzerland on August 2nd, 1973. 9 days later, it was released in the United States.
Oh, they're starving. Oh, look at that cut.
We are here at a Bel Air 1955, 56, 1957. Okay. That was the same year my father had his. Oh, look at that interior. Is that looking good in there? That's a beauty. I think it has a 265 cubic inch displacement.
Generally, the Petaluma Big Event is held on a Saturday. The Friday night before, the classic cars gather in the old parking lot of Kmart, where they showcase their classic cars and win awards.
They got a old motorcycle, a Simplex automatic. Man alive, we've got some vehicles here. Where do we start?
This coming-of-age comedy is set in Modesto, California in 1962. The film is a study of cruising and early rock and roll cultures popular among the creator and director George Lucas's age group at the time. Through a series of vignettes, it is a story of a group of teenagers and their adventure over the course of the night. It is a misconception, though, that the movie was filmed in Modesto. Originally, George Lucas had planned to film closer to his studio in San Raphael, California. After only one night of filming, the city council revoked their permission, citing disruptions to local businesses. George then loaded up the cast and the crew and moved 20 miles north to the small town of Petaluma, where most of the film was shot, using several different locations around town over the next 28-day time period.
You know, it was a very short schedule. It was 28 nights.
Lucas even missed his own high school reunion because he was busy shooting the film. .300 pre-1962 cars were needed to create the cruising scenes, and over 1,000 classic car owners who responded to the ads in local newspapers were interviewed. During Petaluma's tributes to American Graffiti, many of the cars used in the movie can still be seen. Classic cars, scenes of beautiful Petaluma, and art combined, it was really hard to resist not buying one of these beautiful pieces. Lucas saw a strong relationship between teenagers and rock and roll music at the time, so he collected the music for each scene. His original selection of over 80 songs was estimated to be more than the budget would allow, and Lucas was encouraged to narrow it down to 4 or 5 songs. He got it down to 45 by eliminating some of the Elvis tunes and the more expensive copyrights. By the time the negotiations were done, the cost for music licensing was still $90,000, almost 10% of the budget, leaving Universal Studios fretting over the cost. Fearing that the film had no star power and not knowing how to market it, Universal let it sit on the shelf for 6 months before they finally decided to release it. Both the movie and the 41 original hits from the soundtrack became enormously successful. The record peaked at number 10 on the Billboard charts and has been certified triple platinum in the U.S. Universal initially projected a $600,000 budget, but added an additional $175,000 once producer Francis Ford Coppola signed on. This would allow the studio to advertise the film as "from the man who gave you The Godfather." Due to the low budget, George Lucas was unable to pay all the crew members and offered them screen credit in lieu of payment, and they accepted. At the time, this was considered a novice idea. Today, it's become more of a tradition and accounts for the longer closing time credits. Over time, the movie has gone on to earn over $140 million and to secure a bright future not only for George Lucas, but those who agreed to be a part of the team.
Holy schmoly. Man. They had to rework that hood to fit that scoop in.
Ron Howard was perhaps the most well-known cast member at the time of the filming.
In fact, 25-year-old Cindy Williams was actually Ron Howard, then 18's, first kiss.
Establishing himself at the age of 6 in the longtime TV running program, The Andy Griffith Show, as Sheriff Taylor's son, Opie. He would go on to be a highly successful actor on both television and big screen, and has become an Oscar-winning director. American Graffiti helped launch the career of several other actors, including Harrison Ford, who would team up again later with Lucas in the Star Wars movie, playing Han Solo, and later the star of Indiana Jones. Initially, Ford turned down the role because he was only offered $485 a week, which was less than he made as a carpenter.
When they upped the offer to $500, he accepted. By the way, if you're in the local area, be sure to come on in to the History Museum here to Petaluma. It's free, and through September, they're going to have American Graffiti displays.
I've been searching my whole life for someone like you, someone who understands my heart the way that you do.
A young Richard Dreyfuss got great exposure after he beat out 100 other actors at the time to play the role of Kurt. His high-profile film career includes movies such as Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and leading up to Oscar for the Best Actor in The Goodbye Girl. During the film, Dreyfuss was often called on to set early during camera setups because the plaid shirt that he wore made for an effective test pattern. Francis Ford Coppola encouraged George Lucas to cast Wolfman Jack, who had already gained fame in the early 60s coast-to-coast radio show and the Midnight Special. In the film, he plays himself. When Wolfman makes an on-air prank to call Pinky's Pizza, the voice on the other end is no other than George Lucas.
Pinky's Pizza, you must have the wrong number, partner.
And, by the way, Pinky's Pizza is still here in Petaluma, and it's still delicious. In gratitude for Wolfman's performance, Lucas gave him a fraction of a percentage point of the net profits. This ended up being enough money to give Wolfman a comfortable income for the rest of his life.
Other notable characters include Mackenzie Phillips, Cindy Williams, and Suzanne Summers, who have also had long-running sitcoms over the decades since American Graffiti was released. They became household names, cementing themselves into the hearts and the homes of America.
We hope that you've enjoyed this video, and we hope that maybe we will see you next year. celebrating American graffiti. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Until next time, happy trails!
Have you been to California? Seen the sights and people there? Walked the streets of sleepy sea towns, tasted salty ocean air.